It's just a plan for what happens to you and your stuff. So I'd say having an estate plan anytime you own something, great. It's just a matter of what is that estate plan.
Hello and welcome to the Money Rewrite podcast brought to you by City and County Credit Union. My name is Bailey.
And I'm Lucie.
On the Money Rewrite podcast, we take old money rules and we rewrite them for the new world because all of us have been given advice with good intentions, but things have changed. And for you to conquer your goals, you need the facts so you can get started. You ready to dive in?
All right. Today we're going to be talking all about estate planning. And we have Elizabeth with us. She is an attorney at Cooperative Will and Trust. So we're very excited to pick her brain today. Can you take a second to just introduce yourself, Ellie?
Yeah. So I'm Elizabeth, otherwise known as Ellie. I've been at Cooperative Will and Trust for about 3 years now. So I've been doing estate planning all that time. I've seen everything from the very beginning to why should I have an estate plan, all the way through executing one, and even through probate, which is administering an estate after death. So I've seen everything from the start to finish. Yeah.
And did you always think that you were going to be in estate planning?
No, I didn't. I started at this firm and I ended up falling in love with estate planning. I really liked helping people. I thought, family law was the way to go, but I really like the people I work with and I like making sure that they're secure and it's not as argumentative as you might think, and peace of mind. Love giving that. So yeah, I love it. Didn't expect it, but I love it.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yes, awesome. And so today's old money rule that we're going to be rewriting is that you really only need an estate plan when you're older or if you're ultra wealthy. Mm-hmm. And we know that that's just not true. And so we're excited to have Ellie here today to break down why you need an estate plan, why it's important, because it really does help set your loved ones up for success if something were to happen to you so that they can make sure that your wishes are carried out. So we've got some great questions for Ellie today. So are we ready to dive in?
Let's do it. Let's hit it off with a really easy but important one. Why is an estate plan important? Why is this a big deal?
Yes, there are, I'd say 3 to 4 reasons why, just off the top of my head. First, it's control for inheritance. You want to make sure that you give as much as possible after you pass away. I mean, you work your whole life. You want to make sure that what you work for is going to the right people, so some control over inheritance. And then you want to make sure that there's some kind of plan while you are alive. And if something were to happen to you, or if you're out of the country, you want to make sure that someone can handle your assets or at least access your assets for you on your behalf with a legal obligation. So making sure that that's in place. And then for healthcare, making sure that someone is there to make healthcare decisions for you if you can't. And lastly, making sure you have a say over guardianship over your children. If something were to happen to you, you want to make sure that you designate a person, and that's a great tool. Yeah.
I love that. And I think being earlier in the financial planning stages, it's that's something that I'll deal with later. So when do you feel like is the ideal time that somebody should get that in? Is it when they have the kids, or hey, I'm planning a big vacation out of the country? When is that ding, 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 it's time to set up your estate?
Yeah. Well, to know when to set up an estate plan, you need to know what is an estate plan. And an estate plan, it's what I talked about, but it varies. It's not, you don't always have to have a will. You don't always have to have a trust. It's just a plan for what happens to you and your stuff. So I'd say having an estate plan anytime you own something, great. It's just a matter of what is that estate plan. And many times we encourage what you would imagine an estate plan to be, either a will or a trust or some kind of form like that. It varies depending on the person. It can be as little as putting a beneficiary on an account. Anytime you have an asset, you should think about what you want done with that asset, whether that's following Minnesota default rules or deviating from that. And we can use certain tools like a will or a trust to deviate. But if you get married, you might want to consider having an estate plan. If you have children, absolutely, please think about an estate plan, because you never know what's going to happen and you want to make sure your children are taken care of. And then if you are wealthy, that's always, everyone thinks, oh, well, I should wait for when I'm wealthy. And yes, when you're wealthy, you should have an estate plan. But it's just any time in your life when you want to make sure that you have control over your assets and you want to make sure it goes to the right people, that's when you should have an estate plan. Or when you want to make sure that you're well taken care of. So if you're afraid of something happening to you and you're in the hospital, they're not making the decisions you want. Well, there's a healthcare directive. You can write that down, what you want, and you can appoint people to make decisions for you. So it's really any point in your life when there's a big decision or a big life moment.
And when you go in for estate planning, do you do all of those different forms at one time? Or do you like pick through the Rolodex and it's like, this one's good for you and this one's great for you? Like,
Yeah.
how does that work?
Yeah, so we do estate plan packages and we can deviate from that depending on the person. So we always look at what their goals are, if they want to avoid probate, if they're okay with going through probate. And then we always encourage them to have a healthcare directive or a power of attorney. So all of our packages include those because they are so underlooked and they are so great. The tools are fantastic. So we always include those. If they already have some, then we don't need to update them unless they want them updated. So if they have outdated addresses, then we'll update them for them. But yeah.
Can you clarify something? When you say probate, can you explain like
Yes.
what that is,
Yeah.
like how it all works
Yes.
for somebody that's listening that might not know?
Yes. So generally when someone passes away, there's a family member who goes to a bank or goes to a credit union and they say, hey, city and county credit union, can I access this account? And you guys go, no, who are you? And then they go, Google online, how can I access this account? And they realize, oh, shoot, I need legal authority to access this account. And so they find out that they have to go through probate, which is a court overseen process of administering someone's estate after death. So generally that person will petition to the court, file something with the court saying, I want to be nominated as personal representative, which is the role you have to gain access to those assets. And then once the court says yes or no, or appoints someone else, that personal representative, they go to the establishment. So they go to city and county credit union and they show they have legal authority. They can gather assets, pay off any debts that creditors might have, and then distribute out according to either the will or Minnesota law.
Okay, interesting. So let's say that like I'm just YOLOing my life and I don't have like energy.
Just say YOLO.
Yeah.
Okay. Millennial slang, and I love it.
Yeah. So I have like nothing set up. What happens then? Does it still go through that same process? Like I'm assuming it takes longer. Like break that down for us.
It doesn't necessarily take longer.
Okay.
But it goes through that same process. So someone has to go to the court and ask for permission to be the personal representative. If there's no will, then that means it follows default rules. Minnesota default rules for the person who's personal representative. That's either going to be a spouse if they're married, and if not married, then their children. If not children, then it goes to parents, and it follows this whole kind of course and it trickles down. So there are different levels of who can be nominated. And then for distributing out assets, it also follows Minnesota rules, which is that same kind of trickle. So if you're married, it goes to spouse. If your spouse has passed away or you're not married, it goes to your children. If not children, grandchildren is so far. And then it jumps up to grandparents. So their parents.
Okay.
And then it goes to their siblings and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of trickling down and there is a way, but a lot of times people don't want the default for their personal representative, at least if they are not married or if their spouse has predeceased them, because the default would be one of their children. And children are on the same level for the right to be in that role. And they might have one child who they might want to appoint over a different child. Maybe they're fiscally responsible. Maybe they just aren't overwhelmed with work. So there's a bunch of different reasons why they might want to appoint someone over the other. And having a will or having a trust, which avoids probate, but having something that designates a specific person can alleviate a lot of tension, because people like to fight over that role, which is kind of crazy to me because it's a lot of responsibility.
Sounds like a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, it does.
And people think it's like a huge honor, and it can be a huge honor because that means that they believe that they are responsible and can take care of this process. But one of the people at the firm, Brian, he's one of the attorneys, he describes it as cleaning a bathroom. Everyone wants a clean bathroom. Everyone wants it done, but no one wants to clean it.
Yep.
And so that's
So
kind
true.
of what being a personal representative is. And it has to be done, and it has to be done well, but you don't always want to be in that role. So
It's a lot of
designating a
responsibility.
person is so important.
I have a question. I'm fascinated on this probate thing because I'm really fascinated about probate. Really because my parents are aging, and I think about, to be honest, I don't know if they have a plan in place. And let's say they pass. I have a sister, so her and I would likely navigate it together. But then do I need an attorney to help and go through their stuff through probate? Is that putting more responsibility on me because they're not prepared?
Yes. So you don't have to get an attorney. Do I recommend getting an attorney? Yes. But that's because Minnesota, it's great because it has 4 different levels of probate. And a lot of times people want to go to the most informal part of probate, which is the easiest one. But it doesn't apply to every case. And if you don't apply the right level, then it kicks you into the very highest and most supervised many times. So if you do it wrong the first time, then it's going to take longer. It's going to cost more money. And it just kind of stinks. So
Yeah.
I recommend going through an attorney because they're going to know what they're doing. They know what probate to put you through. And then they can do the majority of the heavy lifting where you don't have to go through all of the forms and look up statutes and understand every
I don't wanna do
single
any of that.
detail.
No.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people like to avoid probate. So they go with a trust instead. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
So my parents are also in the phase of life of aging and like doing all this paperwork stuff. And they have it split up where one of my siblings is in charge of like the financials because he's an accountant. And my other sibling is a nurse, so in charge of medical.
beautiful.
So do you guys often recommend that those 2 things get split to 2 people, or is it best to leave it with one person?
No, splitting it up is great.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic. That happens a lot where someone is in finance or is a banker or anything like that. And then another individual is either a doctor or a nurse, and they're just going to know more about that area. So they like to nominate people who have those strong characteristics and can make sure that things are going according to plan. Yeah. So great.
Okay, perfect. I have a copy of everything, so I'm just the
gosh.
I'm just the project manager. Make sure they get it done.
I'm jealous because my parents, I don't think have a plan, or if they do, they haven't shared it. But also not having to take all the responsibility there
Yeah,
is
it's
huge
great.
in such a different way. Okay, estate planning is just a topic that I really don't know a lot about, and so I still think about like if I'm coming to see you and I need to create this for my family, daughter now. What do I need to bring with me to that appointment? What should I be thinking about prior to me coming?
Yeah. Actually, it's really easy.
Oh.
So with us, we have an initial consultation, which is free, and you don't need to bring anything. The only thing you need to bring is knowledge of whether you're married, whether you have children, if they are minors or adults, and then very general net worth. We're just looking to see if you are at or above $3 million. And
I'm not above 3 million, but I love that.
Exactly. And that's usually the response we get where they're like, man, I wish. But if you're under $3 million, a lot of times we don't need to know every single asset you have. When you're over $3 million, then we want to look more at your assets because Minnesota estate tax attaches and it applies to assets over 3 million. So that's when we want to, think about taxes and alleviating some of those. But before that, we don't need to know everything. And that's
really
such
helpful.
And that's such a pain point where people don't want to go and do their estate plan because they don't want to find all of their assets everywhere. Granted, they do eventually have to go through and fund their trusts if they want to do a trust. But for actually implementing the estate plan and executing it, they don't need to know that.
Wow. What's a trust account?
Oh, okay. So a trust account is different from a trust. A trust
Okay.
account is account for a trust, but a trust is a legal document that we use to avoid probate. And so probate, it applies if your total estate is worth $75,000 or more in probate assets.
Wow.
Or-
I'm already so confused.
I know.
This is why I come see you.
Yes. So
Okay, I'm ready.
ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Probate. Imagine all of your stuff, everything you own from your house, car, shoes, socks, everything you own, bank accounts in a huge pile.
Okay.
You've got that huge pile. And then you've got 3 big red buckets.
Okay.
The big red buckets, it's joint accounts, beneficiaries, and then trust.
Okay.
So this big pile, you're going to sort through, and anything that has a joint owner, you're going to put in that first big red bucket. Anything that has a beneficiary, put in the second. Anything that's put in trust, put in the third. The remaining pile, if it has any real estate or if it's over $75,000, you're going into probate.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of times, and so a lot of times you have a joint, you have joint accounts, and you have pay on deaths, transfer on deaths, and beneficiaries. But some assets out there don't have beneficiaries, or you can't transfer those ways, and that's when we use a trust. So we can take that full amount in that huge pile and bring it down to $75,000 or under $75,000. So that's when a trust comes in because it's more flexible.
A+. Nice.
That was a really good breakdown.
Yes.
So if someone's coming in and they're like working through their 3 buckets with you, I know the first meeting, very casual and formal. After that, how long does it kind of take to move from like start to completion of that initial process?
Yeah. The biggest time frame is getting the intake back. And the intake, I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at these people. It is not hard. We have gone through our intake and tried to make it as easy as possible. So we ask for names, birth dates, addresses, who you want to nominate as personal representative, and a couple of other questions. But we try to narrow it down as much as possible. It can be done in 10, 15 minutes. It can be done. And so if we get that back, we can start drafting right away. And if we have to order title work, so we do something called a transfer on death deed, which is one of those big red buckets, one of the ways to transfer the house. So if we do that, we have to order a title work. And so we have to wait for that to come back. It's usually about 4 or 5 days to get that back. So I'd say range could be 5 days to 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's faster than I thought.
Same. We didn't prepare for this question, so please don't think you have to answer this. But I'm curious on the cost.
Yeah.
I know we have a relationship with Cooperative Will and Trust where you can get some documents reviewed, but let's say I really want to sit down with someone in person and I want to do this whole thing from top to bottom. What am I looking at?
It depends on what type of estate plan.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of different packages. And we also have a questionnaire on our website where you just answer a couple questions and it'll bring you to the estate plan we recommend and it'll show you the price. So
very nice.
It can range from about $550 to $3,000, depending on if you have a very basic will to a complex trust. So if you want to go to our website, it's coopwt.com, and then you can just take that questionnaire. Otherwise, you can schedule a time with me, and I'll tell you the price up front. So,
can I just say how refreshing it is to like shop for an estate plan like a pair of shoes?
Yeah, it really is.
Everything you need to know up front.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Okay. I don't have any more questions on my end.
You know, I don't think I do either because I feel like we really rewrote this old school rule that estate planning is only for the wealthy. It's, something you can do later in life. But as we think through, even personally, my own phase of life, I had a daughter 2 years ago. Something my husband and I have said is we're going to make an estate plan. We want to be on top of this. And we've already picked out who we want, to take Piper if something were to happen and da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to tell you, we have not done a thing with that. It's just in the wish state.
Yeah.
But this conversation has really assured me this is something I really should get on because we own a home and now I have a daughter and I want to make sure she's in the right hands. So with that said, we are looking for your top doable tip to get started today. What does that look like?
Okay. Top doable tip. I would either go to our website, coowt.com, click that little schedule now, schedule an appointment. It's free. There's no reason why not to. I can explain some details about estate planning and I can show you how much it costs. It's so easy. The other thing is you could just take the questionnaire if you don't want to take time to have a little meeting. It usually is about a 15-minute meeting, but you can also take the questionnaire, figure out what it is. It's so easy. Guys, it's so easy. I'm talking to you as well. You have a child. It's so easy.
on it. I need to.
I do too. It's been on my like list
Yeah.
on my phone of like things I need to do around the house and in life.
Yes.
So
And you know,
this is
like,
like action item.
You're
Yes.
looking for things that you could easily check off. This actually can be one of those easy things to check off.
Yeah.
It just sounds daunting, but it's not.
But it's so important, and as we've grown up, and we talk about how we get advice all the time around the dinner table from our grandparents, or our parents, and things have just changed so much that to get things prepared, this doesn't have to be like jump through 10 hula hoops to get an estate plan. This is, you've guided support, can be affordable to make sure that your assets are secured. So
Yeah.
the fact that you could say it's easy is a win for me and my life.
Well, I love that I can get started online. It's like I don't have to fax a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
'Cause, like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't really even know how to use a fax machine.
Yeah.
I don't
Do
have
we
to
have a
scan
fax
anything.
machine?
I don't know. So,
All right, cool. Awesome.
all right, we're going to move into our pink pour segment next. Welcome back to the pink pour segment. This is our portion where the questions get a little bit faster and the cocktails or mocktails get a little bit stronger. So Bailey, what are we drinking today?
We have created a trustini today with some gin for our speed round of questions.
Yep. So we're going to dive into some rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Ellie?
I sure am.
Okay. We're going to kick it off. How do you encourage your clients to spend in the middle so that life right now and legacy in the future both matter?
Yes. So cost-wise, if we're thinking about avoiding probate versus not avoiding probate, a lot of people are thinking, wow, a trust, it's more expensive than a will. And yes, you're correct, because it's a more complex estate plan. But in the long run, it saves a lot more money, because probate, it's going to cost you anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000, and it depends on the complexity of the estate. If anyone's contesting a will saying it's not correct, or if there's any issues like that, it's going to cost more. But a will or a trust, it's going to range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, and it's going to avoid a lot more costs in the future. And that 3,000 point, a lot of times that's including something called a disclaimer trust. And that's a special trust to help avoid some of those tax hits when you go over $3 million. So it's even more savings.
I love how you light up when you talk about a vocabulary word and the estate plan.
Disclaimer. I love these words. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So
I didn't either.
when you go, so you don't have a plan, you get to probate, and the state has to handle it. You owe the state then, essentially.
You don't owe you don't owe the state.
Okay.
You have to file with the court, and that filing fee, it's a lot. And then a lot of times you have to publish notice in newspapers for two consecutive weeks. And so if you are publishing notice, that's going to cost some money as well. And then on top of that, if you're hiring an attorney, which I usually recommend you do, then that's going to be attorney fees as well. Wow. So that's where you kind of incur.
That
all
is
those.
crazy. That is
Yeah.
another reason why this is on my list
Yeah.
for this year. What is the top thing people forget when they think about estate planning?
They forget to fund trusts. We have had many people come into our firm and say, oh, I have a trust. And we go, okay, what did you fund it with? And they go, fund. And so for a trust to work, you have to put assets into the trust. And so remember those 3 buckets we talked about? The last one, to put it into a trust, you have to usually fill out some form with your financial institution. So they'd go to city and county credit union and they'd say, I have a trust. I want to transfer my account into trust. And then it's usually really easy paperwork to just switch it over. But they forget to do that. And that's a big part.
Is this an account you open when you're still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And then if I still want to use those funds,
You
because
still can.
you still can, it just has to be a type of account
Yeah.
called a trust.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You still have
Interesting.
full access whenever you have a trust, a revocable trust, which is what I've been referring to this whole time. You can still access those funds. You can control those funds. You can take them out. You can get rid of your trust completely. You can amend it. You can do whatever you want with it, like you own it.
It's just a type of account. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Mhm.
Good to know.
Okay. Random question for you next. What about my pets? Like, can I put them in the estate plan? Like,
Yes.
how does that all work?
Yes, you can. You can create something called a pet trust, and it's like a trust where you say, "Hey, I'd like this person to pay for my pet's benefit, like $1,000 a month. And you can say, okay, I have these funds. I want you to pay out for my pet. There are some people who give a lot of money to their pets.
I mean, I get it. Mine is my baby as well.
Yeah,
So I get it.
exactly. Yeah, so you can designate people to take care of your pets. Yeah, it's great.
And important. Very important.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your top TV binge show right now?
I love Psych.
Oh,
I know it's just reruns and just
Yes.
rewatching, but I love Psych.
I have dabbled in that a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, that is awesome. I love it.
I'm gonna have to add it to my list because I haven't seen that. So
It's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
good. It's pretty good.
what's your like top used app on your phone right now?
Instagram.
No shame.
I'm
No
sorry,
shame.
Yes.
No.
No,
No
I
shame.
love it too.
Yeah.
Are you a millennial or are you?
but Gen Z.
Oh, okay. So I'm surprised it's on TikTok then.
I was on TikTok for a long time, but then it was problematic.
Yeah.
I was too addicted.
Girl.
I feel that.
Yeah, I get it.
What's your number one like tip for anyone that's like just getting started with an estate plan?
It doesn't have to be hard. I think it's just getting over that mindset where, oh, it's going to drag on, and it doesn't. No, it's pretty easy.
Do you have your estate plan done?
My estate plan, remember how I was like, oh, it depends on the certain person. My estate plan, it is done. It's not as formal as you might expect, but I'm also going to get married in a next couple of months. So we're going to revisit the estate plan then.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, with that is another episode of The Money Rewrite. We have rewrote the rules to estate planning. And as you've heard us say multiple times, just do it. Do it today. It can be easy and it is important for your future.
Yes.
We'll drop Ellie's contact information in the bio of the episode. We'll also drop the cocktail/mocktail recipe. And with that, cheers. We will see you on the next episode.